about an economic bloodbath.
Donald Trump was not alone in his mistreatment by legacy media. In the 2019 Democratic primary debates, presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard had her face digitally altered on live television. NBC motion-tracked a fake blemish onto Gabbard's face, which would frequently vanish and reappear in real time.
Far more costly than anything that we ever saw in Iraq. It would take many more lives. It would exacerbate the refugee crisis.
Did anybody after the debates mention it to you that this strange thing seemed to happen?
No, I had no idea. You guys are clearly on it. When I saw it, I was like, that wasn't there. That wasn't there at all yesterday. And then to see it disappear was very strange.
Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something that I've been following for a great many years, but I will warn you that it is a rabbit hole. So there's no way I'm going to be able to discuss anywhere near the entirety of this case. I'm going to do my best to give you like brief backstory and then talk about the recent updates. And I hope that you'll go and check this out for yourself, because this is a wild situation. So you'll see my tweet here. Ellen Greenberg did not kill herself. So Ellen Greenberg was a 27-year-old school teacher. She taught in like an inner city school in Philadelphia. Great girl, young, beautiful, fun, driven, all of the things that we say about people who have passed, right? But really, she was like just a genuinely good person. She was engaged. She was very much looking forward to her wedding, came from a good family, all of those things. And on January 26th in 2011, a very strange set of circumstances happened, which is going to be very difficult for me to explain that makes any sense, because it doesn't make any sense. But essentially what happened was, on January 26th, she woke up, she went to work. It was a school day. She went to work, but there was a snowstorm coming in. So went to work, started snowing really hard. They decided to cancel school early. So she was very excited about that. She left work. She stopped to get gas. I think she made one other stop, maybe at a restaurant or something, and then went home. And she was home. Her fiance was home. They were just hanging out, chilling. He decided that he was going to go down to the gym, which was in their apartment building. They lived on a 6th floor apartment in a really nice apartment complex. They had a gym in the building. He decided he was going to go down to the gym. He left. He came back less than an hour later. And when he came back, he realized that their door was latched from the inside. So I'm sure like if in a hotel, like the latches that go across, not like the flimsy chain ones that you could probably pretty easily break down. But like the one that slides across, if that makes sense. But it was latched from the inside. So obviously he couldn't get in. And he claims he was very annoyed by this. So he starts texting her, hey, why'd you lock me out? Starts calling her, starts texting her, calling her, trying to get her attention, is getting annoyed. Hey, I'm getting really pissed off. Why aren't you answering the door? All of that stuff. He eventually decides to go down to talk to the security guard. He asks the security guard, hey, can you come upstairs and help me like get into the apartment? I can't, the door's locked from the inside. And the security guard says that he told him no, that's against like their policy, the apartment, whoever owns it, it's against their policy. So fiance goes upstairs by himself, decides he's going to kick the door in. So he says he kicks the door in, and he finds Ellen on the ground in the kitchen, slumped up in a corner kind of cabinets. And she was bleeding, and he calls 911. And I wanted to include the 911 call because it's so ridiculous, but it's also like 5 to 7 minutes long. But the acting is terrible. I highly encourage you to go listen to it. It's really bad. Oh my God, I can't believe it's one of the worst 911 calls I've ever heard. Allegedly, I'm not saying he did it, but I'm just saying it doesn't sound very convincing to me anyway. But he talks to the 911 operator, describes that there's a lot of blood. He says he can't determine where the blood is coming from, whatever. She encourages him to then try CPR. So he claims to be, trying to get her shirt off of her. It's like a zip up hoodie. And then he says, oh, there's a knife in her chest. And there's literally a 5-inch blade knife sticking out of her chest that he's just now noticing, despite the fact that he's been in the room for multiple minutes now, on the phone with 911, trying to determine what happened, what's wrong, where's she bleeding from, there's a lot of blood, what's going on, which you can hear happening over the course of this 911 tape. And so he notices the knife. She tells him, okay, stop. You can't do CPR if there's a knife in her chest, obviously. So help comes, all of that good stuff. Ellen obviously was pronounced dead. The cops pretty much immediately took him at his word, assumed that she had been in the apartment by herself, and that she had killed herself. Well, then the medical examiner does an autopsy, and it turns out that Ellen didn't just stab herself in the heart, which is a weird thing to do, especially for a woman, in terms of ending your own life. But she was stabbed not once, not twice, not 3 times, 20 times. 20 times. And that's a conservative estimate because it appeared that there were some stab wounds that had been on top of each other. So it could have been more than one, but it was difficult to determine because it was like stabbing in the same location. So 10 stab wounds were in her chest and abdomen area, and 10 stab wounds were, as you can see here, literally in the back of her head and neck. And I don't know how you do that to yourself. I don't know why you would do that to yourself. We should also mention that this is a very uncommon way for women to commit suicide. Now, there's been some trending in different directions in the past decade or so, but historically speaking, women choose things like overdose, things that aren't messy or painful or gruesome or any of that stuff. And there, again, as I mentioned, there has been a shift over the course of the past decade where we have started to see more things like hangings and stuff like that involving women. And I'm sorry that this is very morbid, but just to give you like baseline, why this is weird. This wouldn't be common for anybody, y'all. Who is going to stab themselves 20 times? 20 times? I mean, I've never been stabbed. I can't imagine it feels good. And I can't imagine 20. And again, back of the head and neck. I don't even know how you reach that way. And I've been following this case since it happened, and I have numerous times like tried to figure out how you would do that. And I have long arms. I'm tall. I'm 5'9". I have long arms. I don't know how you stab yourself in the back of the head. She also had a very large gash on the top of her head, and bruising at various stages of healing, on mostly her arms, abdomen, legs, things like that. So lots of fishiness. And a significant amount of fishiness regarding this case and whether or not that this was a suicide. But they initially just treated it like a suicide straight from jump. The medical examiner does his autopsy. He finds all of these stab wounds, and he makes the preliminary determination that this is a homicide. He sticks with that story until he gets a visit from the Attorney General and some others. And then he changes his determination from homicide to suicide. He claims it is because they were presented with new evidence that the cops have been doing their investigation, that they found some information regarding Ellen's mental health. And to be fair and to be very clear, Ellen was struggling. She was dealing with a lot of stuff. She was teaching in an inner city school. It was really difficult. She felt bad that the kids were in the situation that they were in. She felt bad giving them bad grades. She felt like their parents weren't helpful. She was really struggling in trying to figure out if she wanted to stay in that job or if it was too much for her. She was engaged. They were due to be married in just a few months. So she was stressed out from trying to plan the wedding. She had made multiple comments to friends and family members that she was unhappy. She made a comment to her dad at one point that she wanted to quit her job and move home. But it wasn't anything so severe that people around her were concerned about her necessarily. Her parents did encourage her to get professional help, which she did. She was seeing a therapist in the months and days leading up to her death. They prescribed her, I should have wrote it down. They prescribed her 2 medications. I'm not going to say which ones because I don't want to be wrong, but they prescribed her 2 medications to start. those were not effective for her. She wasn't seeing an impact. So they switched her to 2 different medications. And those seem to be, and anybody who's dealt with mental health stuff, you very often have to kind of bounce around to medications until you find one that works for you. And she got lucky. Second time, it seemed that it was an effective switch for her. So she was doing much better, at least was managing it better. She was continuing to go to her appointments. She seemed like she was in good spirits. She had just mailed out save the date cards for the wedding. On the day of her death, she went to work, she came home, or she filled up her gas tank. That's forward thinking behavior. Typically people who are intending to commit suicide don't bother with that kind of stuff. She came home, she entered grades into the computer system for her school. She was doing things that implied that she was forward thinking. So why this is also very suspicious, other than obviously 20 stab wounds, the way that the cops handled this whole situation from jump was horrendous. They did not secure the scene for an actual investigation, which, at least in my knowledge, and I'm not a law enforcement expert in any way, I'm not trying to pretend to be, but I do follow a lot of true crime cases. And from everything I've heard, that any death has to be initially treated, anything like that needs to be treated as suspicious circumstances until otherwise proven. And there was no time. The very next day after Ellen was found dead in their kitchen, the fiance's uncle and cousin were allowed to go into the apartment unattended, unsupervised. They claimed that they were only going to get a suit for the fiance for the funeral. And instead they took her purse, Ellen's purse, her cell phone, and her laptop. Not suspicious at all. And the cops also released the apartment to the fiance and recommended a crime scene cleaning crew. So after there's a crime or a death or whatever that is, messy, there are actual crews that will come in and clean it for you and make sure that everything is sanitary and whatever to the best that they can. Obviously, there may be exceptions, but generally speaking, they're able to clean up a crime scene pretty well. So, but the cops the next day after this, and this is the medical examiner has said that he thought it was a homicide. Crazy business to me. And there's a lot more, a lot of nefarious connections. And I think the grandfather of the fiance was like a high-powered attorney. And there's, some stuff. Now, they also didn't investigate at all the apartment. They didn't really do any testing on the door frame to see if, in fact, the door appeared to be kicked from like the hallway in, as he claimed that it was locked from the inside. They did none of that stuff. There was really no, I don't think that they did any sort of like fingerprint testing on the knife or any of that stuff. Not that I think that would have mattered necessarily, because he lived there. Fingerprints might have been on there. I mean, but there was just really there was nothing. There was no investigation whatsoever. And her parents from day one have been fighting like crazy against this stuff. So they recently won a pretty significant victory. So parents of Ellen Greenberg, Philadelphia woman found stabbed to death, want city to re-examine case. Attorneys for Ellen Greenberg's parents say they are fed up and tired of waiting. They're asking the city of Philadelphia to follow the terms of a settlement agreement reached months ago and complete a re-examination of their daughter's death. In February, the city agreed to pay Ellen Greenberg's parents, Sandy and Joshua Greenberg, $650,000 and reopen the controversial investigation into their daughter's January 2011 death. In a case that's continued to receive national attention, officials first ruled Ellen's death a homicide. She had been stabbed upwards of 20 times with a kitchen knife on the front and back of her body. Again, there's the diagram for you. The idea that for this long, they've been calling this a suicide is wild. I mean, this is like Hillary Clinton level stuff, right? Then the ruling was later flipped, with officials labeling her death a suicide. That stunned her parents. They fought since then, challenging the city's designation that her death was a suicide. The Greenberg's attorneys accused police and the medical examiner's office of an unlawful conspiracy to stop a murder investigation that they say had been grossly mishandled by investigators. Right before the city settled with the Greenbergs, in February, the formal medical examiner who performed Ellen's autopsy made a sworn declaration that, given new information in the case, he believed Ellen's manner of death should be designated as, quote, something other than suicide. Okay. The Greenbergs are asking the city to comply with the settlement agreement within 5 days. Quote, there has been more than enough time for the city to do a re-examination. The city had promised to do so expeditiously, meaning very promptly, said attorney Joe Pedraza, who represents the Greenbergs. Quote, the clients would then get a final determination given all the evidence to date that the only conclusion the medical examiner reached, including Dr. Marlon Osborne, is that Ellen didn't commit suicide. A spokesperson for the city's law department tells CBS News Philadelphia that they will be in contact with the Greenbergs' lawyers and that the review is actively in progress. Quote, the city will fulfill its obligation under the settlement agreement in this case and will respond to plaintiff's motion in due course, is what the settlement said. And so there's still like an ongoing fight. Her parents have been, I mean, they have been on, I think, like Dr. Phil and Nancy Grace. And not that I like those people, but they have been pushing this literally since day one. I've been following this case from 2011, and they have been pushing this since day one. They never believed that Ellen had committed suicide. And I understand that, especially as a parent, I don't think any parent wants to think that their child would do that. But I don't think that this is that. I think anybody watching this or anybody that saw that diagram would agree that that is sus. That is wild that that was just labeled as a suicide and written off. 20 stab wounds, 10 of them to the back of the head. That's, I mean, kind of hard to believe. Sorry. And they just really failed on every level to do any legitimate investigation. There was never any, I don't even think they really interrogated the fiance. They did take him into custody, I think, at the time. Obviously, though, that's a pretty standard protocol. A witness to a death or whatever, you're probably going to take them in. But there was really no investigation. There was no attempting to determine how the door was broken into. Did he actually break into the house from the outside? Or was he on the inside and was just trying to make it look like it had been broken into, or whatever. I mean, to me, it's just really difficult for me to believe that a 27-year-old woman who was having some hard times, sure, but was seemingly in a fairly good place, had a good family, all of that stuff. And I realize that people are dealing with stuff that we couldn't possibly know or understand. And I get that, but this is just incredibly suspicious. And now why this is so interesting is that Governor Josh Shapiro was involved in this. He was involved at the time during the investigation, and now obviously he's in a much bigger position of power and authority. And I think that he's somebody that I think they've been trying to prime for bigger stages. So that's definitely an interesting aspect of this, but Ellen's family is definitely not backing down on this at all. There's numerous like mini documentaries, oh my God, the podcasts, the true crime community, who, as much as a true crime, like kind of junkie I am, is also kind of a vile community on many levels. There's a lot of really terrible people that do it. But you can find some good ones that are really informative if you want to learn more about her case. And I highly recommend going and checking out the 911 call. It's absurd on every level. Just trust me, go listen to it. It is insane. Terrible acting job. And again, I'm not saying he's guilty. I didn't say that. I'm just saying it's suspicious and it should definitely be looked at. They should definitely reopen the investigation. And it's wild. And there needs to be really an investigation into, I mean, I don't know if it's just because he has well-placed family. It seems wild that they would go invest that much into covering up a crime not significant for just some 20-something-year-old schmuck. That seems like an awful lot of effort to go to, jeopardizing more people to cover up a crime like that. So I'm not really sure what happened. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out. But I'll say it again. Ellen did not kill herself. I mean, I really feel strongly about that. I do not think that Ellen Greenberg killed herself at all. Looking at that, the diagram of the wounds, knowing that she had bruising all across her body that were at various stages. I'm not saying he was abusive, but it's possible. I mean, she was definitely struggling with something. She seemed like she was battling something, and we'll probably never know, but I do really hope that her parents get some kind of answer at some point, or at least get them to reopen it, re-examine the case. That's all they're asking for. Just let them, I think that they're willing to hire people. They've already spent a significant amount of money attempting to get private investigators and all of that stuff on it. So I don't know. We'll see how, hopefully there will be some new information later this year. I think that there's been a pretty significant push in recent days. So I'm hoping that, I mean, we're starting to get some information on John Benet Ramsey even, and Madeleine McCann. So you never know. We may actually get a little something. Okay, I'm going to read some super chats real quick, just so I don't forget, because I might. And then we're going to make fun of a CEO, and then we're out of here. Some dude says a sitting senator starting another country's welfare is the top priority of their office, should be held as treason. Yeah, Ted Cruz saying that his top priority was Israel is crazy. And just freely admitted that. Like, that was his, getting elected, that was his top priority. I mean, okay, my guy. I don't know how to say that. Vienticus Prime? Apparently the Trump DOJ just formally asked the Manhattan courts to unseal Epstein grand jury testimony. I mean, okay. But we probably won't get much from that, though. That's just some crumbs. I think he's flicking. Oh, I already got that one. Everything's a scam. Everything's a lie. Everything's hypocrisy. And so I don't complain. Or I don't comply. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a very compliant person myself. Bree Taylor, part of a drug org. Boyfriend was dealer, hence no knock warrant. But if you see body cam, police knocked anyway. Boyfriend used her as a human shield, then fire on cops. Cops should do no time. Please do. I'm assuming homework next time. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cops or no knock raids or any of that stuff. I'm good on all that. Thanks. Let's see. A couple more here. Actually, a lot more. People who bitch about immigration are typically perfectly happy to take resources from these other countries. Then right after, they'll call younger generations entitled. Hypocrisy. It's me 31. In Britain, British trained people cost more to employ. Oh, and that is why they can't get the health workers and others. I know this because I was one. Vienticus Prime. Democrats want cheap immigrant, unskilled labor to take your job. Republicans want cheap immigrant, unskilled labor to take your job. If your vote mattered, a vote for either is a vote to be unemployed. I mean, okay. Yeah. Dobther. I want to know why indentured labor is necessary for a Western country to function. Kind of defeats the argument where democracy is right. Nobody wants to talk about that part. Again, that's one of those like foundational issues. Nobody really wants to talk about that. All these J.M. Herber, all these immigrants being deported are criminals. They violated immigration. They violated immigration law. It'd be one thing if the U.S. didn't allow immigration, but we're actually one of the most liberal globally. I don't care if they violated immigration law. I don't think that they should be kidnapped without due process and shipped off to some third country, never to be seen again. I thought we could all agree on that, at least. Breaking immigration law is not a big priority for me, especially if you come here and you're just chilling, raising your family, going to work, doing your best. I don't care. I mean, a lot of people do care. I'm not one of them. Kyle West 737. This Brit is not for us or our people. I don't know what that means. Vienticus Prime. Republican narrative on immigration is the same as Democrat narrative on guns. We need stronger laws because criminals follow laws. Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah, I agree with that. Corn Pop, the baddest dude. We're not going to have anyone around to wipe our ass. Jewish Republican or Representative Becca Ballant? I don't think I've ever heard of her. Did she actually say that? I don't think I've heard of her. Vienticus Prime. The only thing Choose a Better Oppressor Day is for is to tell you which group of insufferable assholes is going to excuse government corruption for the next year? Yeah, I'm so tired of electoral politics, genuinely. Alligator Alcatraz is just the promotional name for FEMA camp. Amazing how the right deliberately refuses to see it. That's from P.W. Walker. Yeah, people have selective noticing skills. When it's something that they like or that benefits their team, it's fine. When the other team is doing something they don't like, then it's the worst thing that's ever happened, and we must stop it immediately. Kyle West 737, I appreciate her view, but she needs to understand this dude is no good. Five Eyes royalist bullshit. Okay. Vantigus Prime, ever notice how people accept villains are some part of a uniformed team in a story, and then in reality make it really important that you know what uninformed team they're a part of. Vantigus Prime, all these people burning their Trump hats are showing is that they're still not willing to learn the first rule of being an adult. Don't have heroes. Word. Especially politicians. Holy moly. Vantigus Prime, if someone demands solutions after you present them with a problem, all they're showing you is that they're most likely not a free thinker. Yeah, that's something I get really annoyed with, is that when you're pointing out problems, people want to like, oh, what's your solution then? Oh, it's so exhausting, especially given the fact that those of us who speak about this stuff frequently often talk about solutions. My friend Carrie Wedler, Derek Bros, Last American Vagabond, Whitney Webb. There's a lot of people out there who don't just address problems, that they also are trying to actively engage in talking about solutions. I think people just don't want to hear what the solutions are because it's hard. And I get that. Goo81, don't be shocked if the America Party's main donor is the Israeli lobby. Why would that shock me? I'm expecting that. No question about it. And I do think it's funny. I mean, shout out to Elon. He is a troll master. A guy from South Africa starting a party called the America Party is pretty funny. But he's not the answer. God, people are really going to fall for that, aren't they? Oh, God, it's so exhausting. But people really are going to fall for that. It's coming. If he actually does form a party and run candidates, which is very possible, sometimes you need that third party. What's the word I'm looking for? Facade, mirage, to keep people hooked into the electoral process and think you actually have a chance. Elon Musk is not the answer. Not your friend, not the answer. Just as much of a douche canoe as all of the rest of them. Please stop thinking that these people are here to save you. They're not. I promise. They're really not. Okay, this is hilarious. I'm sure you guys have seen this by now. It is everywhere, positively everywhere. And I just wanted to do this for fun because we talk about a lot of really awful stuff. And so I thought that this would just be a fun way to close out the show, a little bit of levity. So this is from Pop Base, which I assume that that's just like a celebrity type site, maybe. But it says Coldplay accidentally exposed an alleged affair between astronomer CEO Andy Byron and his colleague Kristen Cabot at one of their recent concerts. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. So here's the video.
Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
I want to talk to that girl.
Oh, look at these two.
This girl on the
You're okay?
left of them. She knows.
Either they're having an affair or they're just
With
very
her
shy.
hand up. She knows. She knows. That girl knows what's going on. They did it to themselves, because if they had just reacted normally, this wouldn't have gone viral. Probably nobody would have seen it. Nobody's going to just like go randomly post, or maybe one or two people might go post on their social media a video that they took of the Coldplay cam or whatever. I didn't know that that's the thing that they did, but they freaked out immediately, and it just called more attention to it. And now, holy cow. So the memes, however, are quality, delicious. This makes me giggle. Retweet to scare a CEO. And I mean, I really don't need to explain any of the above. Makes me laugh, though. This is very funny. And then the next person nailed it. I thought this was hilarious. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. It's this person. Every summer, fate chooses a CEO for the sacrifice. That's the ritual. And that's so true, because there was the year of the orcas, right? Where the orcas were attacking all the yachts and big fancy boats. There was the Ocean Gate year, which we all know that. Obviously, there was Luigi. And then now Chris Martin is going around and exposing CEOs in their in their affairs. So this just makes me laugh too. Maple Cocaine said, and this is from 2019, but it is evergreen. Every day on Twitter, there is one main character. The goal is to never be it. And that is so true. That is so true. Nobody ever wants to be that person, right? Ugh, the whole world. And this is also funny. Greg said, Facebook boomers are going to lose their minds when the cheating CEO vid hits their timeline in 3 weeks. It just made me laugh because that's my mother. My mom in 3 weeks will call me and ask me if I heard about the CEO at the Coldplay concert. They're on the time delay. This made me laugh too, just because I love this gif of Tom Brady. The entire office when the CEO and HR chief walks into work after that Coldplay concert. And it's HR. The fact that it's the head of HR is just so perfect. Coldplay's Chris Martin accidentally exposed Andy Byron, CEO of huge tech firm Astronomer, having an affair with his HR chief, Kristen Cabot. Today, his wife has removed Byron from her Facebook profile. Andy reportedly has a net worth of $1.3 billion. Someone's getting rich. It's a very expensive affair. I mean, fellas, holy moly. $1.3 billion? This made me laugh so hard. So good. Oh, I kind of want to like print that and hang it on my wall. It makes me laugh so hard. Feel so bad for that for that CEO's wife. Can you imagine finding out your husband was at a Coldplay concert? And I laugh, but come on, guys, go easy on Coldplay. I'm not a fan, but they could definitely be worse. There's a lot of really terrible music. This made me laugh. The Coldplay cameraman seeing a CEO having an affair in the crowd. So funny. The way Chris Martin handled it was hilarious too. Now, this is the ridiculous statement from CEO Andy Byron. What a turd. He says, quote, I want to acknowledge the moment that's been circulating online and the disappointment it's caused. What was supposed to be a night of music and joy turned into a deeply personal mistake playing out on a very public stage. I want to sincerely apologize to my wife, my family, and the team at Astronomer. You deserve better from me as a partner, as a father, and as a leader. This is not who I want to be or how I want to represent the company I helped build. I'm taking time to reflect, don't they always, to take accountability and to figure out the next steps personally and professionally. I ask for privacy as I navigate that process. I also want to express how troubling it is that what should have been a private moment became public without my consent. I respect artists and entertainers, but I hope we can all think more deeply about the impact of turning someone else's life into a spectacle. And then he says, as a friend once sang, lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you, which I guess is lyrics from a Coldplay song. But I think it's funny that he's trying to blame Chris Martin. Y'all, we live in 2025. Not the entirety. A vast majority of the human race literally carries a phone and a camera around with them 24 hours a day. People don't, my phone is right here. Like, we all have our phones at all times. You can be on camera all the time with all the security cameras and all the stuff. There is real, and it's terrible to say, but accurate. There is no privacy, my guy. There's not privacy. And instead of being angry about the fact that your personal mistake was publicized, maybe don't cheat on your wife. I mean, that could be a good place to start. I'm not like, nobody's perfect. I get it. And I really don't even necessarily care about the cheating part of it. I just think the memes are funny. Like, I just think, and his statement is funny to me. It's so stupid and so just stereotypical. The taking time to reflect, they always say that. It's just funny. It's funny. It brought the internet together for a day. Everybody was having a good time at their expense. I only showed you a few of the memes. There's a lot of them. If you want to go have a laugh, just go look it up because it is really amusing. People are so creative. I should have, I don't know if you guys know the Fell For It Again award account. But it's an account on Twitter. I don't know what it's like, Fell For It Award or something, at Fell For It Award or something. But they make, I'm sure you guys have seen them, the little memes of like the Trump supporters with the Fell For It Again awards and various, like there's one where there's like a, one with a pacifier. There's one that I asked them to make of the Jaws boat. We're going to need a bigger boat with a bunch of, because MAGA keeps falling for it. But it's high quality stuff. They do a really good job, and they need to make a meme of that because that is really funny. It's good stuff. So if you're intending on cheating on your wife, maybe don't go to a concert in public, or maybe just don't cheat on your wife. I mean, that's probably a good place to start. I don't know. Call me a purist. But yeah, Andy Byron's probably headed for the divorce court. $1.3 billion mistake, or at least half of that. That's rough. There's a lot of speculation going around about that the wife he's with now was also a mistress, pattern of behavior. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, definitely funny. The memes are high quality. Go check it out. Go entertain yourself. It's a good time. We need to find things to laugh about. There's a lot of really terrible stuff going on right now. Okay. I will be here again Monday. I hope I feel better. I apologize tremendously I really do feel quite a bit out of it. My head's just not in a good space right now. I have a really gnarly headache coming on. But we made it through. But I will be here on Monday. I do know for sure I have my friend Dave DeCamp coming on. I'm going to probably try to get another guest or two as well. Because sitting here talking by myself is very boring to me. I'm sure it's boring to you. But Dave DeCamp's going to come on. We're going to talk about Somalia, which is something he's been covering for a long time, but nobody's really talking about. And I think we just bombed them for like the 45th time just this year. And there's a whole lot. We're going to get into it. There's a whole lot going on in the sort of battle for power, just in general there. So that's going to be a really a great conversation. I'm really excited to have Dave because he is, again, really one of the few people I've seen consistently covering it over the years, and in particular this year, given the amount of bombing. So very excited to have him on the show. I will ask around and see if I can get maybe another guest or two on Monday as well. If there's anybody you would like to see on the show that I can get, like, I'm not Jimmy Dore, so I can't get like super big names. Be easy on me. But I can try to, if you guys are interested in anything in particular, just let me know. I'm on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. And again, I will be here Monday, and then also every Wednesday at 8 p.m. over on the Do Dissidents Rockfin channel, or Rumble. Why did I say Rockfin? Rumble channel. Holy shit, Rockfin. That's a blast. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. I host my show over there. So you can head over there and I don't know if it's follow or subscribe on Rumble. I always forget. But head over to the Do Dissidents page, follow there. Again, Twitter is at Sarcasm Stardust. Yeah. And don't forget Jimmy Dore comedy, or I'm sorry, jimmydore.com for tickets. He is in Jersey, Massachusetts, in New Hampshire, I think is what I said. So if you're in that area this weekend, head over to jimmydore.com, get your tickets. It's a great time. Also, the tour continues. So check into dates coming up near you. I'm going to try to get to one myself. Hopefully he'll be around the Ohio area in, I think he is pretty soon. Even if it's Chicago, I'm willing to drive. Okay. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good night.